Today, let's continue our series on rebuilding the Tabernacle of David with an in-depth look at Amos chapter 9 and verse 10. We're filming today in Samaria in the bomb shelter full of Bibles. So, in the prophet Amos, otherwise known as Amos, chapter 9, we have already seen that the sifting of verse 9 is to separate the wheat from the chaff. It is not to plant the wheat among the nations. Wheat is the children of Israel, both houses, Judah and Israel. So, for 9:10, I'll put the scripture on the screen here, both in Hebrew and Aramaic, and reading from the English Young's literal translation, "By sword die do all sinners of my people, who are saying, not overtake, or go before, for our sakes doth evil." Nice thing about Young's is that he kept the Hebrew word order, so that makes it real easy when studying the Hebrew. Other translations, let's combine a bunch of them here. "All the sinners among my people will die by the sword. All those who say, disaster will not overtake, meet, confront, prevent, befall, or fall upon us." Now, from the Aramaic Peshitta-based versions, both Lamza and Esposito, we read, "All the sinners of my people shall die by the sword, who say, the evil shall not touch us, or overtake us." Or the Esposito, "the evil shall not draw near nor overtake us." Another way is Christian Standard Bible, "All the sinners among my people who say, disaster will never overtake or confront us will die by the sword." Christian Standard Bible. But "all the sinners will die by the sword, all those who say, nothing bad will happen to us." New Living Translation. So Amos, the book of Amos, the sinners said that the evil would not come. But about 25 years later, Shalmaneser came from Assyria during the northern kingdom's reign of King Hoshea and took Samaritans captive and replaced them with people from Babylon, Kuta, Ava, and Hamat, foreign nations. And that's recorded in 2 Kings 17, 1 through 24. We also see later that in Jeremiah, sinners said that the evil would not come. They died, and the rest were taken by Nebuchadnezzar, also known as Nebuchadrezzar, spelled both ways in the Septuagint, and they were taken into captivity in Babylon. Then we see in Rome, in 70 CE, the sinners died, whereas the righteous fled, just as Yeshua had told them. In 132, Rome attacked again, and sinners died, whereas the righteous had quit the rebellion. The believers in Yeshua had stopped rebelling against Rome for theological messianic reasons. Basically, Rabbi Akiva had announced that the general of the Jews, Bar Kokhba, was the Messiah. And the believers in Yeshua said, well, we don't believe in that because we already understand that Yeshua is the Messiah. For crying out loud, he already rose from the grave. So for that reason, if you're going to call him the Messiah, this general, Bar Kokhba, then we can't join the rebellion. And that was a big split, a big division. In the end, Rabbi Akiva was proven wrong. Bar Kokhba was not the Messiah. He lost the war against Rome. It was a tragedy of the Jewish people. And General Bar Kokhba's name was changed from son of the star, Bar Kokhba, to son of a lie, Bar Kosiba. So, from where we sit in history today, all of these captivities, even Rome, the year 132, it seems like ancient history. But in Amos' day, they were all still future. Amos prophesied circa 750 BCE, and the king Shalmaneser took Israel out of Samaria into captivity in Assyria around 20 to 25 years later, around 725 BCE, or some records say 722. Give or take a few years, it's around 20 years after Amos prophesied this in chapter 9. And that is written again in 2 Kings 17, verse 1, and moving forward. And after that captivity, where the northern kingdom was taken into Assyria, another 135 years, and the southern kingdom, Judah, was taken captive into Babylon in 590 BCE. And that is referenced in 2 Kings chapter 25. So to summarize this timeline, around 20 years more or less after this prophecy is written in Amos, King Shalman, king of Assyria, and that's contracted in Assyrian as Shalmaneser, he attacked the northern kingdom of Israel and took them captive. This Assyrian king was also known as Shalman in Hosea 10:14. And rise doth a tumult among thy people, and all thy fortresses are spoiled, as the spoiling of Shalman of Bet Arbel in a day of battle, mother against sons dashed in pieces. And that's Young's literal translation. His name, Shalmaneser, was written as Sargon in Isaiah 20, verse 1. And that's not to be confused with Sauron from Lord of the Rings. We're talking Sargon, Isaiah 20, verse 1. Quote, in the year of the coming in of Tartan to Ashdod, when Sargon, king of Ashur, sendeth him, and he fighteth against Ashdod, and captureth it. Young's literal translation. And Ashur, king of Ashur, that's another name for the land of Assyria. Ashur, Assyria. Clearly, in the day Amos prophesied, the first temple still stood in all its glory, even with the two divided kingdoms. Rumors and tales of the exploits of King David and King Solomon still circulated among the people, only 200 years prior, roughly. USA still has stories circulating about George Washington and Paul Revere. So Amos is talking about people who would deny that any evil would come to them. That would refer to the evil which would cast them out of the land into exile, not the evil which would come after the exiles. Think about it. You're living in the land of Israel after escaping Egypt in the great Passover, then ruled by judges for hundreds of years. Then there's a procession of kings, some good, some bad, but you still remember the Passover miracles. So from that perspective, the greater evil, the evil that matters the most, is whatever evil coming which would remove the people from the land, and not any evil which follows that removal. The evil that follows would be minor. It would only simply add insult to injury on top of the evil which had removed the people from the land. So that's still just future in Amos' time. So just to give one example, even today, do you know the reason why the ultra-Orthodox wear black clothes constantly? Because they still mourn the destruction of the temple in 70 AD. It is not to mourn the loss of millions of Jews after that, such as in the Shoah, the Holocaust. It's the temple, because without the yearly sacrifice, there is no atonement. That is the reason for the mourning. So the evil overtaking in verse 10 is not the evil after the dispersion, but the evil that led up to and resulted in the dispersion, also known as the diaspora. Thank you for watching. Thank you for following along with us in Amos chapter 9 in our series on the restoration of the Tabernacle of David. If this video has provided value to you, you can show your appreciation by sending a donation of any size that reflects that value to you through JTOD.org, JTOD.org, Jerusalem Tabernacle of David. You can also share this video with others. And at the very least, you can click subscribe and then punch that bell icon so you get notifications of new videos on the JTOD.org video channel or our other channels, Yerubali and Bomb Shelter Bibles. Thanks for your support, and we'll see you in the next video. Saying, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Heal the sick, cleanse the lepers, raise the dead, cast out devils. Freely you have received, freely give.